Hello and welcome to NextIAS. I am Dr. Sudhir Kumar and we are going to talk about anthropology as an optional. Basically in this session, the purpose of this session is that many of you cannot attend our offline seminar, right? So the many requests led to. I'm Dr. Sudhir Kumar and we are going to talk about anthropology as an optional. Basically in this session, the purpose of. Thank you. So our purpose is to take your, you can say, questions and queries also in this session, but primarily I will tell you that why anthropology is a good optional, right. Second, we will talk about our strategy in this program that we are starting from 15th of June, right. And third, that how you can boost your score in anthropology optional, what are, you can say, what is the trend in the previous year, that is also our topic of discussion for today, right. So first and foremost, that why anthropology is an optional, that we will discuss. Anthropology as an optional, right. So before going into this question that why you should choose anthropology as an optional, so I would like to tell you that there are some key criteria that you should consider before going for this question, or you can say before choosing your optional subject, right. And these criteria are very simple. First and foremost, anything that you are going to study for next 1.5 years, that should be very interesting, right. If it is not interesting, then you won't find it easy to read, study for next 1.5 years, right. So it should be interesting, right. And at the same time, if possible, it should be easy, right. If it is interesting, then naturally it becomes easy for you, right, because that interest help you to go through the syllabus, right, even if it is tough. The second important criteria that you should consider, that whether it is scoring or not, right. So in the past years experience, you can know that which optional is scoring well, which is not scoring well, right. So that is the second criteria. Third, you should look for the syllabus, and in the syllabus you can look at whether it is short or it is lengthy. Second thing you can see here is whether the syllabus is static or it is very dynamic, that you have to update on a daily basis, right. The fourth criteria that you can think of is the nature of questions that are being asked, right. So whether the questions are again static or dynamic. And fifth thing is that whether the syllabus of the optional overlaps with GS or not. So overlap with GS, because if it is benefiting you in your GS preparation, then naturally it is a good optional. If it is not benefiting you, then it is having some, you can say, disadvantage. And sixth thing is availability of guidance, right. So these are the 6 criteria that you should look into before choosing, before making your choice for your optional subject, right. And if I just judge anthropology on these 6 criteria, so first thing first, it is very interesting and it is easy for the people from all backgrounds, all academic backgrounds, whether you are from humanities, whether you are from sciences, whether you are a professional degree holder, right. It is easy for everybody. It is highly interesting. The reason for its interest is because anthropology studies all about humanity. It deals with us, right. That means we live in a society, we are a biological being, so it talks only and only about ourselves. That is why it is very, very interesting, right. It justifies it, you can say, bust many of the myths that we possess in our daily understanding. So it becomes further interesting, right. It makes our perspective very holistic, right. Basically everybody possesses a world view, right, and that world view, we have a very tunneled vision about the world, right. We look at the world in a very narrow sense, but when you study anthropology, that vision will be expanded, right. Your horizons, the way you look at things, the way you look at the institution of marriage, the way you look at the institution of family, the way you understand religion, so it becomes completely changed, right? I can say that your value addition, or you can say your knowledge addition, information addition will be too much that you will be overwhelmed that, oh, I was not aware of these things earlier, right? So it is that interesting that every day you will find something interesting about yourself. You can relate whatever you study in anthropology with yourself, right? For example, I will take few examples into it. Okay, so if we take some examples that why it is interesting, so let me take the example of institution of family, right? And family as an institution, you can say it originated when we transitioned from apes to humans, right? And apes are quadruped, right? Apes are quadruped, you can say four-legged walking, and we walk on two legs, right? So when we become, you can say when we transition from four legs to two legs, there are many associated changes. Now first and foremost, what was the change? What was the change? First thing is that in this, the birth canal became narrow and at the same time pelvis become widened. Pelvis of women become widened, right? And because of this two things happened. One, that the process of birthing become difficult and painful, right? So birth become difficult and painful, right? Second thing, what happened because of this is that because of this, the fully mature head of a child cannot come out of the narrow birth canal, right? So if the fully mature child cannot come out, that means the child need some assistance for at least the years when the child is fully, you can say, autonomous, who can take his responsibility, right? So child become dependent and women is also dependent. Someone is needed to take care, right? And that is where we anthropologists try to trace the origin of family. So what we see here is that the genesis of family, the origin of family is traced back, right, to our biological evolution, or you can say organic evolution. That is where you can say anthropology becomes very interesting, right? It helps us to expand our horizon. We start thinking at another level, right? That is why it becomes interesting, right? Other than that, if I talk about many customs that are prevalent in many societies, right? Many customs are prevalent in many societies, right? For example, Malair Paharia. Malair is a tribe of Jharkhand and this region, Chhattisgarh region, right? Malair, they live on the hills and they practice shifting agriculture, right? Malays do not plow their land, right? They do not plow their land. They do know about plows and various technologies that are available, but still they do not plow the land, right? So they have a belief, right? The belief is that if they plow the land, so the plowing of land is like tearing the chest of Mother Earth, right? So this belief that plowing will lead to, or plowing is like tearing the chest of Mother Earth, right? So because of this belief, they do not plow the land, and because of that, what happens? Their productivity naturally is low, right? Productivity of agriculture is less, right? So how you can say customs, beliefs, religious practices affect our, you can say, economic growth, our prosperity, how it leads to poverty, we can understand that. So don't you think that if we understand these things, if we understand that what kind of beliefs people have, and if you want to bring some changes, right, if you want to do economic development of this tribe, you have to consider this, you have to consider their beliefs, right. So this is how anthropology expand your horizons. I will give you another example too, right. There is a tribe in Papua New Guinea, that is 4 people, right, 4 tribe of New Guinea, right, and 4 people have a disease that we call Kuru disease, right. Kuru disease, it is a neurodegenerative disease. Neurodegenerative disease means that here their nervous system breakdown take place. Now in this neurodegenerative disease, it is basically caused, if I understand it from you can say medical perspective, so it is caused by some defective proteins, right, some defective proteins that we call prions, right, prions cause this disease, right. Why this disease is caused by prions? Basically these 4 people, they practice cannibalism, they eat the raw brain of their ancestors, right. Why they eat the raw brain? Because they believe that the knowledge that their ancestors have, right, that should not be lost, right, that should be retained within the family. So those who eat the brain, they can keep the information within themselves, they keep the knowledge with them, right. That is the purpose of this practice, and because of this raw brain eating, that prions get you can say acquired by the people, and that lead to this disease, Kuru, right. But what 4 people believe, that what causes this disease? 4 people believe that this disease is caused by witchcraft, right. The belief of 4 people that it is caused by witchcraft and it is not caused by this, right. So there are 2 lines of thought, right, one these people believe and one medical science belief, right. Which one is more correct, right. Can we completely disregard the belief of 4 people that it is caused by witchcraft? See, if you want to administer the modern day treatments for the treatment of this disease among 4, so acceptability level will not be that great, right. Similarly in Indian tribes there are many such magical practices, and so if you want to even curb the superstition and all these things, right, even if you want to promote scientific temper in those tribes, you have to first consider these things, right, because once you have understanding of their beliefs, their customs, then only you can administer change, right. So basically anthropology is not saying you to change their beliefs to their customs, rather we can integrate their beliefs, their practices in the modern day society, right. In anthropology there are many studies on the simple societies, and many anthropologists study the simple society, and the learning from the simple society is being used in national developmental programs also, right. So basically anthropology is very useful, it is very interesting, that is the main reason that you can say it will help you to widen your horizons, right. Now we have talked about many things, right, that it is very interesting, it is easy for the you can say students, aspirants from all academic backgrounds. Why it is easy? Because it covers biology, it covers society, right, it covers something like economic organization we study, in this we study political organization, we study religion, we study society, we study culture, we study you can say biological evolution, we study cultural evolution, we study genetics, we study language, we study Indian tribes, we study Indian society. So basically it is the admixture of many things, so everybody can find something into anthropology, right. And when we talk about that anthropology is you can say static syllabus, you can say it is not very dynamic, so we can just see that the anthropological research, how anthropology is being done, right, how anthropological researches take place, right. So anthropological research require intensive field work, right? That means anthropologists will have to stay with the people, right? Anthropologists, they have to stay with the people for at least 4 to 5 years, and during their stay with the people, they will learn their language, converse in that language, they will participate in their everyday activity. When they eat, when they sleep, they sleep, when they dance, they dance, when they sing, they sing. So basically they participate in everyday activity, right? And this technique is known as participant observation, right? This normally takes 4 to 5 years, right? So after doing this participant observation, anthropologists collect data of various kinds from the society, whether it is geographical data, whether it is social data, religious data, economic data, every kind of data they will collect, and then after doing this they require further time to analyze the data and put it in a coherent manner, and that usually take 10 to 15 years. 5 years plus 5-6 more years. So this take, and when it reaches us, it is already 15 years plus 20 years. That is why I say that it is a static discipline, it is not much dynamic, right? And you don't have to, you can say, brush it up on a daily basis through current affairs. Whatever current affairs are, you can say, useful in it. So let me tell you how current affairs can be integrated. See, current affairs can tell you that on which area you have to focus, right? Current affairs can tell you on which area you have to focus. Say, for example, recently in Faridabad, some paintings were discovered, right? So from which area, you can say, from which phase of cultural evolution those paintings belong, that age, that cultural period is important for us, right? That cultural period is very important for us, right? Similarly, you can say if there is any tribe, right? Say Mankidia tribe is a tribe that used to live. Mankidia, that means monkey catcher. These people are monkey catcher people who live in Simplipal Forest Reserve, right? Simplipal Tiger Reserve, right? And this tribe was evicted, right? So naturally when something happens, so these tribes and tribal development become a focus area. So that is how we can focus our attention towards those tribes. We can incorporate these examples in our answers. That is what you have to do with the current affairs, right? Yes. Now next thing is that what will be our strategy? Okay, how we will cover our course? Right. So first and foremost, let me tell you that in our course, the main focus will be on conceptual clarity, right? Every bit of syllabus, right? Whatever is there in the syllabus, whatever is required for you to study, we will cover each and every detail of it, right? So conceptual clarity will be our primary focus. We will not leave anything that is there in the syllabus. What can be asked, what had been asked, we will cover each and everything. Second thing is that I will dictate you some notes for your short, you can say, and comprehensive revision, right? So you can say class dictation will be the second thing, right? Third thing, after dictation you will not, you can say, have to go anywhere beyond the study material that I will provide, right? So comprehensive study material will be provided that contains everything, right? You don't have to go in any book, any resource outside them, that we can assure, right? Fourth thing is that there will be daily answer writing, right? There will be daily questions that we will provide, right? And for those questions there will be model answers, that will be provided, right. Not only just model answers, there will be discussion on those questions, right. And other than that these will be evaluated and you can get personal feedback from me, right. Then there will be unit wise tests for every unit that we cover, right, and there will be full test series which contains 12 tests, right, 8 sectional and 4 full length, right. That will be our strategy. So basically this strategy, how you can understand this strategy further, you can say that our strategy will be based on 3 key essential factors. One is conceptual clarity, right. Second is the writing practice, right. Third is revision, regular continuous revision, right. So if you just see in this, we are focusing first and foremost on conceptual clarity, right. You will get some short notes to revise whatever we have discussed, right, and these short notes can also be used as answers, right. Third, there will be comprehensive study material for your detailed reading, right. So conceptual clarity. Then there will be daily answer writing, right, and that daily answer writing will help you to not just revise, rather practice, right. Then unit wise tests, this will help in revision as well as writing practice continuously, right. Then after that, let me tell you that how you can improve your score, right, how to improve your score, right. This strategy is designed in such a way that you can automatically boost your score. I will tell you how to write, what to write, how to add case studies, how to add examples into your answers, right. So the first and foremost step in answer writing, right, that your answer should be simple, very simple writing should be there, right. There should be simplicity in your writing. Simplicity means that either you write your answer in a proper format, right, that means there will be introduction, right, there will be body and there will be conclusion. These are the 3 basic headings that you might have heard, right. Basically this is a perfect format, but sometimes the body part is become, you can say, very you can say condensed, right, and you cannot show the examiner actually what you want to express. So for that matter you can use either use headings here, and we will tell you how to add headings for subtopics, right. Second, in this part you can also talk about the other thing like flowcharts, right. You can add flowcharts to make things easy, simple for the examiner to read, right. You can add some diagrams, right, and various things we will discuss naturally, right. Second thing is it should be holistic. Your answer should be holistic. Now how you can make your answer holistic? See, anthropology is a holistic discipline. That means it studies all dimensions of humankind, right? Biological dimension, social dimension, linguistic dimension and past dimension. So if it studies all dimensions, the examiner also require that you must provide all dimensions in the answer, right? You have to understand the question. Say for example, if the question is write down the relevance of anthropology in India, right? If the question is discuss the relevance of anthropology in India, right? So basically what I find, most of the answers that I find, that they narrowly see the application, or you can say relevance of anthropology in a very narrow sense. They apply it to tribal India, rural India, right? they try to apply it to just tribal problems, rural problems, right. But if you see anthropology, right, so anthropology is a holistic discipline, and when you say that anthropology is a holistic discipline, that means anthropology can be relevant. I am just telling you the answer how you can make it holistic. Anthropology have 4 major sub branches, right. Physical anthropology, second is you can say socio-cultural anthropology, linguistic anthropology, and archaeological anthropology, right. So don't you think that, do you think this is only relevant when you write the answer? Don't you think this is also equally relevant? This is also relevant, this is also relevant. What can be the relevance of physical anthropology? So relevance of physical anthropology can be, see, we are just in the COVID wave, right. Right now also you can say COVID cases are coming up, going down, up and down, right. So basically disease and health, right. How in disease and health anthropology can be useful, how it can be relevant. So basically it can be helpful in designing policies to combat, you can say, diseases, right, to make our people healthy, right, national health policy. So there it can be useful, national health policy. What else it can be useful, relevant? So you can say the technologies that we study in anthropology, right, that can be directly useful in diagnosis of various disease, right. One such example of diagnosis you can take RT-PCR, right. We study genetic technologies, so naturally it is the relevance of it, right. Second, treatment, right. We study, you can say, genetics, and that through that gene therapy and all, right. You can say the treatment, you can say gene therapy, right, and pharmacogenomics. What is pharmacogenomics? Right, it deals with, you can say, drugs and our genomic system, our genetics. See, suppose my body requires just 100 milligram of paracetamol to treat the fever, your body requires say 600 milligram to treat the fever, right. So if I am eating 500 milligram tablet, so I am eating 400 milligrams extra, right. But if we can just design the drugs in such a manner that I know my genome, right, my genome is known, right, and accordingly the prescription is made, right. Accordingly you can say the person who cannot you can say get effects with 100 milligram or 500 milligram, they can be given 600 milligram. So you can say tailor-made medicines, tailor-made medicines can be developed using this, right. So it is being done, right. Gene therapy can be useful in treatment of many diseases, like nowadays bone marrow transplant and many such technologies are being developed, right. Second thing, you can say, other than that, the relevance of this can be in sports, the relevance of this can be in other areas. Similarly, you can have relevance of this in countering communalism, you can counter casteism, right. You can use sociocultural anthropology to promote gender sensitivity, right. Linguistic anthropology, there are many languages which are dying, right. So conservation of languages, right. Archaeological anthropology, many archaeological sites are in dilapidated state, right. Many are being, you can say, wasted. So we can use the knowledge of archaeological anthropology to spread awareness about our past, our cultural heritage. So conservation of cultural heritage can be promoted using this, right. So what I am trying to say here in the last session is that basically you have to write your answer in a holistic way. You have to show the examiner that I am explaining each and everything. I am not limiting my answer to just one theme, or you can say tribal India or rural India or just few tribes, right. That is what is demanded, that you must write each and every side of the answer. It should be holistic, it should cover what is being asked. right, because the nature of anthropology is holistic. Third thing is that your answer should be relevant, right. Now, how you can make your answer relevant? You can write some case studies, some examples which are directly related, right. So, what we have discussed here, right, don't you think these are relevant examples, right? National health policy, right. Basically here you are telling the examiner that I am not just an academician, rather I know the relevance, I know that where it can be used, how it can be useful, right. Since the question in itself is asking the relevance, and anywhere in any answer that you are going to write for UPSC, you have to think that in that you cannot ignore relevance part. You have to tell the examiner that it is not just for the academic reading, rather it has direct bearing with our society, our culture, our people, and it will definitely help to make the life of the people better, right. So, that will be, you can say, your strategy for improving your marks, right. If you follow this 3-step strategy, simplicity, holism and relevance part, naturally your score can be boosted. When you write holistic, I said that you must write examples, and the examples in most cases are case studies, right. For example, one more case I can take, right. Some of the questions can be written through the case studies only, right. There was a question, Jane Goodall's contribution to primatology, right. So, basically this question is based on a case study itself, right. Jane Goodall studied chimpanzees, right. She studied chimpanzees in Gombe Stream National Park, Tanzania. Right. She studied chimpanzees in this national park. Now, what happened that when she was studying chimpanzees, she observed many things about the chimpanzee behavior. So that chimpanzees basically make tools, right. Tools, how chimpanzees make tools? She observed that one chimpanzee is going near a termite mound, taking a twig out of a tree and just cleaning the twig, right, with the mouth, and then putting that twig inside the termite mound in order to take out termites, right, in order to fish out termites and eating them. So basically this process, right, chimpanzee used the twig as a tool, right. She wrote back to her mentor Louis Leakey that I saw this. Louis Leakey was a very famous archaeologist who was working in the Olduvai Gorge of Kenya and Tanzania, right. So basically when Louis Leakey came to know about this behavior of chimpanzees, Louis Leakey remarked that either we have to change our definition of what we call a tool, or we have to change the definition of what we call human, right, because we associate tool making primarily with humans, right. That tool making is a typical behavior that relates to us, that make us a unique primate, right. So that is one thing that she observed, right. She observed that some behaviors are learnt, right. She observed that one chimpanzee learned from the other while one was using a twig to fish out termites. So learned behavior, see all these things she know, there are many such things. So basically what I am trying to say, that here whatever we are trying to explain, we are explaining through the case study kind of thing, right. You can use this case study of Jane Goodall somewhere, what can be the role of primatology in anthropology, right. So in anthropology we study many things where the interesting part is that it is associated, everything you can say is associated with humans. We relate everything with us, right? And that makes it further interesting. In anthropology you can bust many of your myths, right? Some people say that the civilized culture is much or more advanced or progressive than the simple society's culture. You can say, some people say that tribals living in say Andaman and Nicobar like Sentinelese, right? You all know that Sentinelese, there was an American, among Sentinelese, an American missionary went there and he was killed by Sentinelese using their rudimentary bows and arrows, right? So many think that Sentinelese were you can say inferior, and their technology is inferior, right? And we live in civilized society, we are superior, right? So basically this belief can easily be rejected in anthropology, right? You can understand that. See, you go to their land, right? Try to make you can say living there using that technology. You won't find, you can say, yourself in a better position than theirs, right? You won't be able to hunt maybe for 2-3 days or maybe more than that. You may not find anything to eat also, right? But they can easily eat, they can cook, they can do whatever they want using their technology. So just put yourself in their shoes and then try to do it. So you won't be able to do it. Whatever you are doing, you are, you can say, adapted to this life, you are adapted to a particular technology, and that is how you are doing it easily. If you don't have, you can say, Google, for one day you are handicapped, right? Many of the information that you want to know, you won't be able to find reason, right, answers to them, right? So how you can say superior one culture is than the other, right? You can easily bust out that myth, right? You can bust out the myth that one race is superior than the other, right? And white races, you can say, earlier it was believed that white races have higher mental capacity, but we Indian can easily reject that there is no difference, right? Because Indians are making more advanced technologies and they are doing more advanced scientific discoveries than any other race, right? You can say Negroes are also doing equally good, Indians are doing, any other race is doing. We can reject that myth too, right? So anthropology, you can say, overall can make you more human, right? According to Lowy, anthropology is the most scientific and you can say among the humanities, and it is most you can say human among the sciences, right? So basically anthropology can change your worldview, anthropology can make you more human, right? That I can say. And one more thing I have to discuss is that what was the trend, right? Many of you may be concerned that previous year trend in anthropology. Right, previous year trend in anthropology. So basically, first thing you must understand that anthropology is a simple, you can say, straightforward discipline, but still in last 2-3 years you may see that there are some changes that we have come across, right? And the changes are of nature that they are asking a little bit analysis also, right? I will give you some examples to tell you that what kind of analysis they are asking, right? So their questions are become a little bit integrative in nature, right? Their questions are a little bit integrative in nature, right? And third thing, they are going into the areas that were not touched, right? Especially you can say archaeology, that was not a predominant part, linguistics, which were not that predominant earlier, right? Because earlier you can say UPSC was limiting to few areas, now they are going into some areas which were not the main focal point. Basically what I am saying that UPSC, you can say, earlier there was a belief that UPSC limit itself into 200 to 300 questions, you just memorize them in anthropology and you will do perfectly well. Many of the students have naturally, yes, qualified using that approach too, right? But it does not work every time, right? So first thing is analysis, right? Analysis, that means you must know the basic detail, basic conceptual clarity is must to get a decent score, or to, you can say, you to understand the question that is being asked. Now see, basically first thing is that analysis, that this year there was a question, animism and deep ecology, right? Animism and deep ecology. So basically this was a question, and here animism is a belief in spirits, in soul, right? Animism says that everything, every object, living or non-living, just focus on my word, living or non-living, have a soul, both have soul or spirit. Everything have a soul, or you can say it has a spirit, right? Deep ecology is a concept, right, which was developed in 1970s by Arne Næss, Norwegian philosopher, who says that in ecology every aspect, right, whether biotic or abiotic, are equally important, right? So in this question you have to relate both of these, right? So if many of you do not know about deep ecology, that means your knowledge of GS was weak, right? And many of them do not know about this. Here the examiner is asking about your analysis and how you can integrate various domains of knowledge, that becomes important, right? And for everything of this nature to happen, first and foremost you must know the basics, right? That means conceptual clarity is a must, right? Conceptual clarity is a must, right? Third portion, archaeology and linguistics. See, these are, you can say, most ignored portions of anthropology syllabus, right? You memorize few questions, few topics, few sites of archaeology, right? Whether it is from Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic or Iron Age, right? And then you think that this can be asked. So basically you must have the basic idea about things. You must be able to, you can say, connect detail about one thing with the other, right? Then only you can say. One more question I can give you an example, with an example. There was a question that how, this was in 2020, how the notion of power, how the construct of power is related to conspicuous consumption is related to the notion of conspicuous consumption and distributive justice, right? So basically this was the question, and this question many of the students cannot understand. The reason being they don't have the idea that how this question come, right? So this question is basically integrating two different concepts, right? This is related to the topic that is political organization, right? And this is relating to another topic that is economic organization, right? So these two different topics were integrated, right? This is also related to distributive justice, is also related to economic organization. Let me tell you what is conspicuous consumption. Conspicuous consumption, दिखावे के लिए खर्चा, right? In Hindi, if you want to understand, right, you can say the expansion, or so consumption, or you can say spending for दिखावा, right, just to show off, right? Say for example in our society, if I want to say that people spend on expensive cars, right, on lavish marriages, that is conspicuous consumption, right? In simple societies there are many customs, right? One custom is potlatch, right? Portledge is a custom found in north west coast of US. Many tribes like Kwakiutl and they practice Portledge. In Portledge there is, you can say, gift giving, right? Very liberal gift giving, that anything that you have must gift it away, or you just burn your wealth, you just throw it on the sea, right? More you burn, more you gift, more you throw your wealth into the ocean, it will be increasing your status, right? So basically how it is affecting your power status in the society. So the more you spend, right, the more you can say consume for show off, it will lead to your increase in status. You may become a big man in the society, right? And second portion is distributive justice. Distributive justice, that means if you are giving away whatever wealth you have, right, naturally those do not have, they will receive some wealth. So how it is related to, you can say, construct of power and distributive justice? This was an easy question if you have basic understanding of the concepts and topics, right? So the thing is that I am emphasizing on that UPSC is not changing, right? You have to be, you can say, a little bit proactive, more mindful about what UPSC demands, right? UPSC asks you a simple thing, that you should have a deeper understanding of the topics and concepts, right? And for that you must cover each and everything that is there in the syllabus. I am not asking you to read beyond the syllabus and will not cover anything that is beyond the horizons of anthropology in UPSC, right? So basic purpose is that you must have a crystal clear idea about the topics, concepts that are mentioned in the syllabus. On the top of this, after clarity, the clarity does not, you can say, live in isolation. It is not just one idea, rather clarity has to be, you can say, put on paper. You should be able to pen it down in a coherent answer, so that the examiner have the idea that you really know this topic, and you can justify in a holistic manner. You can add examples, you can add case studies to justify this answer, and you can give some relevant, you can say, ideas how it can be applied also, right? These are the three things that I wanted to tell you. Now let me take some questions. Yes, Amit, Kula ring is also associated with it, right? And Portledge is also associated with it, right? Kula ring is among the Trobriand Islanders, right? There is another system, right? Not just Kula ring, rather there is a third system that I can tell you, that you can add to your notes also if you know that much. So in conspicuous conjunction we can take, there are many but I am giving you three, right? One is Kula ring of Trobrianders, Mocha system of Papua New Guinea studied by Marshall Sahlins, right? And third I told you Portledge, which was studied by French Boas, Ruth Benedict, etc., right? Kula ring was studied by Malinowski, right? So if you have any question, I can take your questions now, right? Or if you don't have questions, then if you have many questions, then I can do one thing, that we can take your questions separately, right? Through a Zoom session. We will organize a Zoom session to take each and every question that you have for the online students, right? So do watch this session. Okay, do watch this session, and if you have any query, you can write back to us. We will be here to help you through all our means. All the best. Thank you. Is it ended? अभी नहीं हुआ ना? ठीक है. Yes. So the question is, no, you don't have to refer any book, because we will be providing you at least 6 booklets, and plus there will be more study material if you want, right? On case studies I will provide you, so 6 booklets we will provide you, right? Other than these 6 booklets, you will receive an booklet on case studies, right? And this case studies booklet will have, you can say, previous, you can say, old case studies, traditional case studies, right? Plus it will also have some new, you can say, most contemporary case studies from current affairs also, right. You don't have to go anywhere other than that. These 6 booklets will be sufficient. You will get one booklet on socio-cultural, one booklet on theories and research methods, one booklet on physical anthropology, one booklet on primatology and paleoanthropology, right, and you can say one booklet on Indian society, one booklet on tribal India. There will be 6 booklets. You don't have to go anywhere, right. These are most comprehensive, right. Anything that you need for anthropology optional, that will be available in them, right. Yes, any other question if anybody have, please do ask. एंथ्रो के लिए बुक्स बता दीजिए. So basically see, although I told you that you don't need any books, but still, you know, if you want to know about the books, so basic books I can tell you, right. For socio-cultural part, there is a very good book, Majumdar and Madan, right. This have many case studies from Indian tribes that will be very helpful for you to, you can say, find good examples and case studies to write in the answer, right. Second, if you don't want this one, you want much easier जिसमें कि academic detail ज़्यादा हो examples की बजाय, so you can go for socio-cultural anthropology by Nadeem Hasnan, right. Second book for theories or thoughts, you can go for Makhan Jha or Upadhyay Pandey or Upadhyay and Pandey, right. Then for physical anthropology, I would say biological anthropology. You can read Craig Stanford's book of biological anthropology, that is very simple and easy also. For Indian authors, I can say that you can go for P. Nath or B. M. Das, right. Then for archaeology, you can study Bhattacharya, right. That is one and the only, you can say, comprehensive work that you find relevant for UPSC, but still it will be good for Indian archaeology but not for you can say world archaeology. Then for Indian society, you can study a book by Nadeem Hasnan with the name Indian Society, right. And other than that, you can also go for Indian tribes or tribal India by Nadeem Hasnan, right, or you can say tribal cultures in India by LP Vidyarthi. So these are the books that you can refer, right. But you know, whatever you find in these books, you will get more than these books, right, and in much better structured form, right. You can say in that you will in these books you will, you know, you won't be able to reproduce on the paper, right. The notes that I will provide you, they will be helping you to directly reproduce whatever you have to write for you can say for the exam, right. So that knowledge is much more structured. Yes, undoubtedly you can go for Kerala board and SCRTs, or you can go for IGNOU notes, but then it becomes a very cumbersome exercise to collect notes from various places. I won't suggest that, right. I would say that stick to one, right. So stick to one thing that you want, don't go into everywhere, right, because now we are living in the information overload era, right, where you won't be able to analyze things. Just let me tell you that what I was saying here in this portion, right, you may have knowledge but analysis is missing, right, and if analysis is missing, you won't be able to answer many things, right. So basically don't overflow, you can say flood yourself with huge amount of data you read from multiple sources. Better stick to one authentic one, right, and where you can find everything, where you can focus more on writing portion, writing part, rather than just on the other, you can say just studying part, learning part, right. So basically your focus should be on having limited resource, but that resource should contain each and every detail what is required, right. So basically don't move here and there, that I can suggest. It is possible to complete anthropology between prelims and mains also, right, but for that you need to work extra hard, right. because in just 3.5 months if you want to study it, then one revision is not sufficient for you to fetch good marks, right. You need to go for multiple revisions, multiple answer writing practices. And see, first thing is study part, and study part is not sufficient, conceptual clarity is not sufficient unless you are able to reproduce them, right. So answer writing, right, plus taking feedback is equally important. You can take feedback from anyone who you can say have decent knowledge on anthropology, on answer writing, right, and then regular revision. All the three things are necessary for you to write answers, right. Not just you can say study is sufficient. So you can cover, but it will be you can say half-hearted, you won't be able to you can say do much, right. Even if you take classes, then also you have to put extra work, right. So that is my suggestion to you. Manish, basically syllabus is static, not because this is from society point of view only, rather see the anthropological the questions mainly they are from the limited amount of syllabus that is mentioned, that is from the syllabus, right. Now basically if they are from the syllabus, why they cannot go wild? The reason is that anthropology is very vast. Anthropology is the largest discipline because anything that you study, it is connected to men in one way or the other, right. If you study economics, if you study you can say engineering subjects, or if you study anything, basically we are trying to do anything in relation to men, right. You study political science, sociology, you study philosophy, you study you can say biology, everything is connected to men, right. And anthropology covers biology, it covers sociology, it covers political science, economics, and we cannot go into detail in each and everything. So UPSC limit itself within the syllabus, right. And most of the studies that we study here, right, they are done ways back, right. If you study human genome project also, right. So I believe that all of you know that this project was complete before 2010, right. Right now we are in 2022, right. So basically in 2003, around 2003-4, it you can say complete its you can task of you can say identifying approximately 23,000 genes in humans, right, through this project. So even in biological point of view, if you see, we ask recombinant DNA technology, right, we ask CRISPR. See, these technologies are not very new, right. The you can say the Nobel Prize was given recently, but that doesn't mean the technology is new. Technology is very old, and we were studying this technology from quite some time, right. Basically in anthropology it becomes important when this you can say is highlighted. So how current affairs affect the nature of question, you can see through that lens also, right. When CRISPR-Cas technology become you can say known to the world, there was a question on the application of DNA technologies on humans, right, in UPSC in 2018 or 19, right. So that is how questions are being asked by UPSC. Komal, anthropology require, say our batch require at least 4 months of preparation, right, and I would suggest that after this 4 months, within this 4 months, what we can do, we can just write the test series alongside, and one test series I suggest that you write after that, right. So 4 months of exhaustive preparation, and then in the next 4 months you can write a test series. So you start say in June, so till October you can cover your syllabus, and from October onwards till February you do writing practice, right. So basically test series you must write, that you can say 4 plus 4, so that will help you to exhaustively cover the anthropology syllabus, and that will be sufficient in my opinion. There will be 5 classes in a week, right? There will be 5 classes in a week, Monday to Friday, right? Saturday, Sunday I will provide you something to write further, right? Even every day you will get at least 2 to 3 questions, maybe more, depending upon the syllabus that we have covered, so that you can process the information that we provide you in the class, right? Because not just feeding you with the information and knowledge is not sufficient for us to get a good rank, right? For that we require that whatever we provide you, you should be able to reproduce on paper, right? That is our approach of anthropology here. Now any other question? That timing will be from 2:30 to 5, right? It will be starting from 15th of June and timing will be 2:30 onwards. Yes, basically Manish, you can do very well even if you haven't studied anything in anthropology, because we will start from the very basics, right? Everything will be starting, we will be starting from very, you can say, fundamental concepts, right? And there only I will tell you that how to process this information, what to write, how to write, right? It is not just that I will be delivering the lecture and you have to process the information on your own, right? Initially I will tell you each and everything, the way also how you can write, right? Even after you write the answer, I will also discuss how you could have written it better, right? So basically if you just do not start from the day one, then you have to start the answer writing after, you can say, finishing your entire syllabus, right? You cannot wait for 4 months to start your first answer, right? To start writing your first answer, you cannot wait for 4 months, right? So I suggest that from the day one you start putting efforts, right? You may not be writing a very good answer, so let me give you an example. Say anything, who have accomplished anything, say you take the example of Usain Bolt, right? Usain Bolt did not become you can say #1 racer in just one day, right? He practiced a lot, right? And in this practice he practiced regularly from day one, right? And finally he came into the competition, right? So basically here also you require, you can say, intensive work that can help you to gain, you can say, a very good answer writing approach. Yes. We can take further questions if anybody have in upcoming Zoom sessions, or you can say we can organize another you can say one-to-one session that can be directly for only and only for this question and answer or your queries, right? So we can end this session here, right? Thank you, all the very best, take care.